Hello, everybody, and welcome to the June webinar update for RightTool. This is for version 23.1 as of this morning. So just be aware if you look in the top right corner of your RightTool sidebar, you'll see what version you're on. So if you're not on 23.1, things might look a little different from what you're seeing here. The way that we generally roll out these updates is that we will increase the number in the front. So the 23 is usually when we release what we consider a feature worthy of being its own release number. And so that's where that generally comes in. And then everything else past that is usually either enhancements, fixes, or they're smaller features that we don't want to necessarily make a whole like next version update for, but we do want to include sooner rather than later. So if you do not have 23.1, do not worry. Your extension will automatically update on its own. It's just that for some reason, some people more than or get it slower than others, and there's really not much of an explanation as to why. Um, I linked again the chat for the slideshow in the chat, and I'm pretty sure my screen is sharing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Hector will not be on this call. I apologize in advance for that. He has some family issues that he's dealing with right now, and so he wasn't able to make this. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to make this entertaining enough for you all. With Hector not being here, and there's some other small things as well. Uh, this will probably be a faster webinar than you're used to. Partially because Hector likes to go on a little bit longer than I am. I'm usually a little bit quicker. And also because there's not as many updates this time as I usually do. So we will, uh, yeah, we will see how everything goes. Yeah, and Hector's family is doing fine, to be clear. Everything's going well with him. It's more of extended family. So yeah. So, the first thing I want to go over is our last webinar video is on YouTube if you haven't seen that. And we will be posting this webinar as well. So if you have to leave early or you miss anything, don't be concerned. You will be able to find this on YouTube. Just be aware it might take longer this time because of the fact that, again, Hector usually does the editing of cutting out certain things if we have problems or anything like that. So it might take longer for this specific webinar to show up on the YouTube channel, but it will be there in a relatively soon. And then finally, make sure to subscribe to RightTool's YouTube channel because of the fact that that is where, and let's see if I can click on that from right inside of here. Yeah. Uh, be sure to subscribe to the channel just because of the fact that when we have new features, we try to keep those updated with videos in RightTool, so you'll see those coming up. And also, sometimes Hector is just in a mood on a particular day, and he will make a video that explains just general things like scripts that he's made and the situation and other stuff. So it's just a good general place to get updated on things that are going on with RightTool. So on YouTube, we have two tutorial-ish areas if you're new to RightTool, because I know a lot of people are either new or they don't really know what goes on with Pro. So we have two videos series. One that's just a comprehensive, like hour-long webinar video we did where we were going over everything you probably need to know about RightTool and getting started. And then we also have a playlist on YouTube that is more like it's abbreviated a little bit more and it's a little bit easier to get through, especially good if you have like employees who maybe are not like so crazy about diving into tech, but you still want them to know the basics. So just kind of depends on what you're looking for.
There's some awesome pictures in there too.
Oh yeah, from when I used to be a little bit better about making the thumbnails. That's funny how that kind of went down. Um, On the next note, and by the way, I will post again the link to the slides in here so that you can have all this stuff available to you. I don't know why this is a YouTube link. I'm kind of tempted to click it, but I actually don't. I don't know for sure. So I'm just going to close this out. We have a Facebook group inside, and what I recommend is, I'm not somebody who likes using Facebook personally, but I do think Facebook is probably the best place for groups. If you want to stay up to date with RightTool, and you want to like reach out to us, or you want to ask for a new feature, this is probably the best place to do it, is the RightTool Pro Facebook group. And let me actually put that link inside of the whatchamacallits here. Facebook group. I'm gonna just put that down here, and then let me link it so it actually hyperlinks. There you go. Yeah, that's the best place to reach out. I don't know why exactly it is that way, but my brain just, it accepts Facebook posts better than emails directly when it comes to feature requests. That being said, if you have like a pressing issue that like needs to be solved immediately, feel free to email me directly. We do not have any feature, we don't have any issue or platforms to reach out to us on, that's like a public forum other than Facebook. But again, you can always reach out to mark@monkb.com, and I will try to be as fast as possible about responding to those kind of things. And let me go ahead and slideshow. Yeah. So again, I very highly recommend coming in there, even if you don't use Facebook for other things. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend making a whole account for it, but if you already have an account, but you just don't use Facebook, go ahead and join the Facebook group. I guarantee you it will be worth it. I will be at Scaling New Heights. This year, I'll be coming as an attendee because I have never actually been to Scaling New Heights before, and I wanted to get kind of a good grip on it first before I started coming up as an exhibitor. So I will be just an attendee for there, but come say hi. I will have stickers with me, so if you want a RightTool sticker, just come up and ask, and and also just talk to me. I definitely need people to talk to me because I am not good at initiating conversations, so I greatly appreciate anybody who comes up to me, just as an awareness. I will also be at BKX, and I will be an exhibitor there. So make sure to come by the booth. We'll have some fun demos, and also I'm thinking about ideas for how we can make it a little bit interactive. So we'll hopefully have some fun there as well. Yeah. So again, just come by and say hi. I always love meeting with everybody. This is just as an aside. Oh, that is not the link to the slides. Let me get that
I'll
real
get
quick.
that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to make sure everybody has the slides. As an aside, I just wanted to say to everybody, and Patrick, I think you posted that to host and panelists, which is fine. That's kind of how it kind of automatically goes. I just want to say to everybody, I greatly appreciate all of you free or pro users. You are all a blessing. So just be aware. I just want to say thank you again for all of you who are here, all of you who are in the Facebook group, and all of you who are more silent in the background but still support a RightTool. Yeah. So with that being said, is there a way to only get RightTool Facebook group notifications? I guess you could just not do anything else on Facebook other than
Create like
follow.
an account especially for it.
Yeah, which I mean, it's up to you whether or not that's worth it or not. And by the way, the slides will have links to everything if you are wondering about links to YouTube or to the Facebook group. So for today's agenda, we're going to talk about a few things here. There are updates to the reallocate feature since the last time we had a webinar. We have a new free feature called QBO short-term enhancements, a new pro feature called journal entry enhancements. We're trying to reduce the number of toggles a little bit, if you can't tell. And then we have the batch pro feature of reallocate expenses. And then finally, a new experimental feature called change subaccounts. So this, and then finally, we also changed a feature called restricting transfers. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so first off, let's start off with the reallocate from report updates. Let me get everything up here. So if you were here last month, or you've seen, or not last month, the last webinar, then you might remember that we had a reallocate feature. What this is if you go to a profit and loss by class, location, or customer, then what happens when you scroll all the way to the right over here is that you get a button called reallocate. Now, when we first showed this off, we didn't have as much customability as we do right now. So just to give you an update on what's happened, before you could only change the things in the not specified column. Now, if you come into here, you can now select which column you want to reallocate from. So the example I like to use for this is, let's say that I have all of this uncategorized income inside of loan class 7. If I wanted to change that to be, for whatever reason, a part of multiple classes, I can come over here and I can go to loan class 7, and I'm just going to select everything. I'm just going to select only uncategorized income. And then I'm going to click next. And then inside of here, there's another change that we've made, which is that, let's say that once I've came in here, I'm going to remove parents, and then I'm going to remove zero totals. And this part is not important necessarily to understand at this point. But let's say I wanted to split this 25% between all of these classes. What I can do is, once I've gotten everything situated exactly how I want it to, so I'm saying I want to split this uncategorized income across 7 classes, and I realize loan class 7 is one of them. I'm going to click export percent to CSV. And this is a pro feature, by the way, just to be clear. It's one of our more complicated features, so that's why it's in pro. And when I do export percent to CSV, it will create a CSV I can use. And inside of that, let me just make sure of something real quick. Let's close that. Okay. You'll get just a simple CSV like this. And once you have this CSV like this, you can just literally import it through choosing a file. And let me actually reset everything. So this in particular feature right here, it allows you to import it. So if you ever are like, oh, I'm always doing the exact same splits each month, it makes it so you don't have to go through as much of the rigmarole of like going through and like Xing out everything and then pressing percentages. So just to be aware. And also, just to make this clear, this particular feature, I believe, is in Batch Pro. Yes. This is in reallocate from reports via journal entry. And this, again, will only show up if you have display columns by classes, locations, or customers. So just to make sure that everybody is aware of those updates. It's not like a huge thing, but I know some people might be like wondering, why does it look different than the video? We are going to get into that, Kelsey. But yes, this is a Batch Pro feature. Okay, now on to the new features. So let's go actually through this one at a time. So we created a new feature called QBO short-term enhancements, and let me go ahead and show you where that is at. Inside of QBO user experience, we have a feature called short-term QBO enhancements. And what this will do is, this is what I'm calling a bucket, that whenever we have features that we don't think are going to be around for long because we think QuickBooks will eventually update or fix something that's going on inside of QuickBooks, we're going to put it into this particular bucket. Let me show you an example. Right now, all of these features, I think, are in the invoice page. So let me actually go to an invoice and I can show you what's going on with this feature. And I just now realized I cannot do this from this particular file because of the fact that for whatever reason, Hector Garcia file just refuses to update to the new layout for invoices, even when you click the button. And yes, a recording of this will be available later. So just to let you know about that. So I'm going to come into my Simple Start company and click invoice. So one thing, there are a couple of things actually inside the new invoice page that we have added in. So first of all, you will notice, and you sometimes have to click on the page because of the fact that this page loads a little bit weird. You will notice that there is an actions button at the bottom of the screen that you can click on, and it will basically make a pop-up that allows you to do all the stuff that you're used to seeing in the old invoice page without having to go through the whole, like, go to manage and then go to, well, whatever it ends up you have to do. Let me actually find an existing invoice because that makes this a little bit clearer as to what this is doing. And by the way, this is not turned on by default, and it is in the free version. It is QBO, short-term QBO enhancement. So be sure to turn this on because it is off by default. Just because we don't want to, mess too much with people's what they're doing. So just be aware. So that's one of the things is it makes the actions button available without you having to click on the manage button and then click action. And also, if you have the copy to transactions turned on, which is somewhere, but it will also allow you to use the copy to feature. Okay. And Patrick, do you mind posting the link to the slides and to the YouTube as well?
Yep, I'm on it.
So when you are in here, so you see the actions button already, and you can actually move this if you're kind of like, oh, this is getting in the way of something I'm working on. So you can move that as you want to. And then another thing you'll notice, and this is something that for whatever reason is not inside of QuickBooks by default, and is the reason we made this entire feature in the first place, is you will now notice that you can actually move these column headers and make them bigger and smaller. So if you're somebody who has like a humongous product and service or something like that, you can now make that bigger so you can actually see what's going on. And let me actually turn this off just so you can see what it would be like. Let me not turn that off. And Nola, I will answer that at the end in the Q&A part since we'll probably have time for it. So I'm going to refresh this page. And you'll see now that when I have this feature turned off, you do not have the ability to resize the columns inside of the invoice page. So again, that's one of the things that we specifically added into here, as well as the actions button. So it's just a small thing, but we hope that it'll help, and we want to make people aware of what's going on with that. And Yossi is asking, where is it? Again, this is in QBO user experience. So this is a free feature. And it does have customer notes, but for whatever reason, I am not seeing the customer notes button show up. So there must be something going on weird here. So, but yes, like Hector said, there should be a customer notes thing going on, but for whatever reason, that's not on there. Oh, that's true as well. I did turn it off. So thank you, Ellen. I appreciate it greatly. Let me see if it shows up now or if it's going to continue to be. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like I didn't see it earlier either. So yeah, I will make a separate video for that. Now on to the next part, and I see that somebody asked if there a way to put the total time in the invoice rather than to show all details. I'm honest to God not sure. I definitely didn't do it. And this is only in the new invoice format because the old invoice format pretty much already had all of these things. So yes, and this is again a free feature. Let's see here. So next, let's talk about journal entry enhancements. This one is pretty cool, and again, this is credit to I want to say it was Hector's idea, but I think he actually got it from somebody. Oh, I appreciate that, Jennifer. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Uh, so I'm going to go to journal entry. And again, this is journal entry enhancements. This is inside of, let's go into the RightTool settings. And this is going to be Accountant Pro. And this is journal entry enhancements. And you can see that it has the little new icon next to it. That's how you can tell something has been updated or added in a more recent update. So just be aware of that. For this one, what it does is it's pretty simple. If I go into a journal entry and I click on that and I let it load for however long it comes up, you will now notice that there is a multiply by percentage button. So if there's something where you're like, oh, I actually wanted this invoice to be like, let's say half, or this journal to be half of what it was, and then make another journal entry at a different date. So you want to copy it or something like that. Then what you can do is you can just type multiply by 50. So 50% and click this. And it'll give you a little warning about how much you're going to multiply everything by. And then automatically updates everything to be multiplied by that. So just something to make it so it's like really easy to update everything at the same time. Hopefully that is useful to you. It also creates a save and reverse button, but this one does not yet work inside of the new journal entry page version. And you can tell if you have the new or the old one based on if there's a feedback button up top, just so you're aware. So this feature is also a part of it, but again, does not show up in the newer version of invoices. But all this does is it literally saves this journal entry and then it reverses it and then it saves, and then it kind of opens this up again for you to save it. So again, just something helpful. It just saves you a couple of clicks, to be clear. And I think that's good for that. And that's what that one is all about. Hopefully that helps you out. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them below. I know I'm faster a little bit than Hector when it comes to explaining these things. Yeah. Now, this next feature that I'm going to talk about. Oh, okay. Yeah. It changes the date to next month as well. Good catch there, Hector. This is the reason that we changed this from 22 to 23. We're pretty excited about this. This one is 100% a Hector idea, unless he got it from somewhere and just didn't tell me, which is reallocate expenses. So I'm excited to show this one off for you guys here today. I am in Simple Start Company. Let's go to let's go to Hector Garcia Corporation for this particular demonstration. Let's see here. And Nancy, you're asking about how you can make service dates in the new invoice page in chronological order. We are literally working on that at this moment. It's a feature that existed in the old invoice page, but we have to work on it to bring it back into the new one. So we are working on that actively. So I'm going to go into the journal, or not journal, the expenses. My bad. Wait for the thing to load here. And then once I am inside of the expenses page, what you can do now with this reallocate feature is you'll now notice underneath the category details, there's going to be a button that says reallocate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my expense, actually, let's just use an already existing one and use that instead. So I'm going to go to an existing expense. And I'm going to delete this stuff because of the fact that it says it bothers me. And I'm going to change this to 5,000 and I'll change this to 1,500 so we can show this. So what this will do is if you click on this reallocate button inside of the expense page, it will go through and get all the data kind of similar to how pasting from Excel works. And then it will open up a window sort of like this, or just like this, I should say, And from here, you can select which lines you want to reallocate for. So let's say that inside of here, I want to only reallocate the office expenses for the merchant account fees. I can now press next. And let's say I want to split it up 5 times. So I'm just going to come over here and then I'm going to click split evenly. So make it 20% for each of these classes. And then I'm going to just click reallocate. And it will literally go through, it will give you all the same customers, but it will divide the amount by however much it needs to be divided by or multiplied by the percentages you put in. This is a pro feature, to be clear. This is in Batch Pro, and I'm sorry, I should have shown that first to start off with. Reallocate in expense page. So this will literally take a line and it will split it up into 5 or however much you say you want it to be split up into, and it will change the class to whichever one of these you want it to change to. This is I meant to put this in experiments because of the fact that while it works consistently at this point, we are definitely going to continue working on this feature to make it a little bit more feature complete. Just to show you again, and yes, it only works on classes for now. We will be making it later on so you can do classes, customer, or location. Again, this is just a very first glance at it. I just wanted everybody to be able to use it and give feedback on what they would like to see in it. So yeah, just something to be aware of there. And so I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to select these 2 categories. Does it have to be an even split? No, it does not. You can put in any percentage that you want. So let's say that I come in here and I'm like, I actually only want these 2 classes, but I want this one to be 70% and I want this to be 30%. If you wanted to do that, you could type that in however you'd like to inside of here. So it's completely customizable to however you want to reallocate. The split evenly button is just there to make it a little bit easier if you have multiple classes at the same time you're trying to reallocate into. Let's see if this goes as well as I'm hoping. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So there's still some, a reason I wanted to put in an experiment is because there's still some things to work out. But we will get that figured out at some point. So just to be aware of that. But yeah, that is a big new feature. I hope that you guys like it, and I look forward to working on it further to make it more useful as time goes on. Yeah, feel free to post in the Facebook group if you have any feedback or suggestions on it. And then finally, this last feature that I want to go through is very much in its early stages. We want to keep on improving this one as well. But for now, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to go into the chart of accounts. And also this feature is in Experiments Pro. So what we're going to do is there is a feature called change sub-accounts. Inside of that, you can see inside of here, like I have all of these accounts. When I'm inside of these accounts, I can actually come over into here, and you'll notice that when you click edit on an account, so let's say I wanted to change advertising and marketing to from an expense to cost of goods sold or something like that, and then say yes. What will happen is because this has sub accounts, it cannot change it, and it'll give you a little warning up top. You cannot change an account with sub accounts. So this feature is at the moment pretty simple. All it is if you are inside of the chart of accounts, you can come over into here and you can use this batch actions button up top to change to parent accounts. So this makes it so it's a little bit quicker for you to be able to do all that without having to go into each single one of them and click the thing that says make this a sub account. So just as an awareness, that's what that's kind of doing right here. Now, the reason that I said this is going to be a feature that we're going to work on even further, this is a pro feature, but because of the fact that it is in experimental pro, it's a pro feature. If it stays being only batch actions and it's changed to parent account, then we might make it free, but I don't want to make any promises on that, to be clear. But the ultimate goal of this feature, just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a sneak peek at what we're trying to do with this one, is I'm going to try to, and I'm going to go to simple start again for this one. Unfortunately, the problem of having two different files for two different purposes, having to come in and edit them like this, is I'm going to go to chart of accounts. And the ultimate goal here is that we can come into this chart of accounts. We can click on all accounts here. And my goal is to make it so that if you go to, an account like this, so fancy account 4, it should hopefully, and I might have to refresh this extension. Let's see here. Will work if sub accounts are used in workflow or recurring transactions? I don't know. It sounds like I don't know. I'd actually have to test that out. And apparently it does not want to work for me today. But the goal, anyways, is to make it so that if you did try to change this account from an income to like an other income, it would actually change all of the sub accounts for you and kind of do the whole tedious process of changing everything over all at one time for you. And that's the general goal of it. We hope to have that working soon. It's just that there's a few annoying aspects of this page that are making this process a little bit slower to pop up than I would prefer it. But just be aware, if you turn this feature on, eventually it should pop up that you'll be able to change accounts that have sub accounts to a different type. So hopefully that's coming out soon. We have it slightly working, but we still have to work out some of the edge cases. So just be aware. And that is most of the new features. And it's at this point that we can start kind of talking with Patrick and let him have his say, because he is soon to be working a little bit more free time. To start working on things. So I'll let him take over at this point.
All right. Yeah, mine's probably not going to be nearly as long. Everything Mark just had to say. Um, I am shifting focuses to other projects and stuff I've been maintaining to making RightTool my primary focus. Um, we got a few big things coming down the pipe with that. First and foremost, we're currently working on a rewrite of the RightTool Pro website. It's going to look a lot better, feel a lot better, do a lot more cool things. First thing you'll notice is you're going to notice is it's going to just day and night look better. We're also getting rid of the Stripe managed account page. I don't know if how many guys kind of walked in and messed with that, where you have to click on it, it sends an email, then you have to go to the email and that logs you in, and then you can manage your account from there. All that will be hosted in-house, be a lot smoother. Let's see what else is in here.
And also to make it very clear, part of the problem is, so a lot of people have asked about the idea of having like settings that you can save for your company, or that you could send to other users, or that you could just save so that you can bring them back on other computers. In order to do that, we need to work on stuff on our site. And the problem as it currently exists is that I enjoy working on the extension so much more than I enjoy working on the backend site, that has been stalled out a little bit. With Patrick involved, we will be able to really pick up the speed on actually making it so you can save your settings and either share them or just back them up to the cloud, so that you can have that across different computers easily. So that's a big part of that.
Yeah, different computers, and you'll have control over different team members' settings too. That's
Yeah.
what you guys need.
So
you limit what they can turn on and off and control it from the website as opposed to just the extension itself.
yeah. So I'm very excited for that, and I know you guys will be too.
Yeah. The other big one that I have that isn't kind of a hush one would be customer reporting. So the idea would be able to tell how long you guys are spending on different pages per team member.
Yeah. And
Um,
that would be turned on. That'd be something you have to explicitly turn on to
yes,
be clear.
yes,
We would never like track things without letting you know about it. So just to be
yes.
aware.
So that was one of the ones that we've kind of talked about early on, but never really got much traction on it. Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
big ones
But
that are in.
yeah, it'll be very exciting once we have it. It'll look a lot better. It'll flow a little bit better, and we'll have a lot more stuff for people to be able to do to make, especially with working with teams, because that's a big thing. Is like right now, RightTool is very much like everybody kind of does their own like individual thing. We're hoping to make it so it can fit a little bit more in the context of like a company environment where you want to have a little more control. So we're hoping that makes people happy once we get to working on that. And then kind of the final thing is we have some things that Hector wants us to do, and I like to prioritize those because of the fact that he usually has good ideas, as many of you will probably attest. But one thing that I'm personally looking to work on more in this next update, um, is kind of the product and service page. We've been getting more and more people who are like, hey, it would be really cool if we could like bulk update stuff inside of the product and service page. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do like a whole bunch here, but I'm hoping that once I start taking a look, we can make some really cool features in that. So it would be absolutely wonderful if people could go to the Facebook group and they could let us know kind of like what are ideas you have for the product and service like page that could make your life easier if you work inside of it. So that's just a big thing there that we wanted to, I just wanted to put out there for everybody. Now, with that said, and it looks like unbilled time is, I think somebody already posted that in the Facebook group about that in the Facebook group. So we will definitely be looked into that as well. Um, so yeah. And that is pretty much it for this time. Now, if people have any questions, let me see here. Da, da, da. So is there a way to set our right tool to be different for different clients? There is not currently, Kathy, but that's what we're hoping to do with the updates to the website is make it a little bit easier to control like what different clients have. And that's a big part of it as well, is making sure your clients aren't using features that they shouldn't be, because that's a big thing for me. Is there a way to make the old invoice template the default? I'm sure there is, but I'm also sure that I'm not smart enough to figure it out. Because there has to be something that's going on QuickBooks' side that does it, because we literally can't update one of our files to the new invoice type. So they must have something going on, but I have no clue where to go for that. So just unfortunately not something I can really promise. And also eventually people are probably going to have to get used to the new invoice layout, as sad as that might be for some people, just to be aware. Um, is there already a way to shorten the length of a parent account so you can actually see the or make the build? Taj, if you can actually what's the word? Expand on that a little bit. There's different places where you can see an account. So I kind of need to see what you're talking about there. Um, on the reallocate, is there a way to do that within the COA, like reallocate taxes between expenses and cost of goods sold? Um, Unfortunately, if you have not seen it, if it's not in the explicitly in the expense page, or it's not in the report of by class, customer, or location, then reallocate doesn't do anything in outside of those pages right now. If you have a detailed way of knowing what you want to do, feel free to post it and I will try and get to it when I can. I can't make promises because my brain is weird. In some months, it goes super fast on working with stuff. And some months, like this last month, it goes super slow. So just to be aware, I would love to hear your suggestions if you have it, but it may or may not take more time when it comes to reallocating because that's usually a more complicated feature type. Uh, so yeah, just something to be aware of there. Let's see here. And yes, Catherine, it would be great if the new invoice page worked perfectly the moment they released it. But they're trying their best, and they're good people over there at least. So we have it'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Noah asked the button for account numbers. You actually did that to host and panelists, so nobody else can see that. But can you explain a little bit further what you're asking for there? Oh, let's see here. Oh, the button for account numbers. Are we talking about inside of when you're doing the reallocation feature? Profit. This is a terrible one to do it on, but that's just how it's going to be. It was a radio button. I am not sure what we're referring to in that case. I'm sorry. Oh, I realize why this doesn't work here. It's because this page doesn't have classes. That's silly on my part. Um, but yeah, you have to be more specific about which page because I'm having trouble remembering what page had a radio button for account numbers. Let's see here. Let's see. It was either in Batch Pro or Experiments. Account numbers. Let's see. Hmm. Let's see here. Is there a thing for account numbers? Now, I do know oh, account numbers on CSV. Oh, you know what? Unfortunately, I'm having trouble with that. If you can send me an email at and I'll put it actually in the chat here for people. Mark@monkb.com. If you can send an email to mark@monkb.com, I might can help out with that. Oh, Hector apparently knows what he's talking about more so than I do. It's in reports export. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, we're talking about this split out account number. Okay, yeah. Um, okay, thank you, Hector. I'm glad that you were able to kind of get that. I appreciate that. So yeah, we have a feature for exporting reports to CSV. Normally, it will look basically exactly like it does inside of let's open this up. Normally, it will look just exactly like it does inside of the report page, but we also have a feature inside of here called split out account numbers. And if I refresh the screen after doing that, and let me just close that, then what it will do is it will literally export the CSV. And then once it does, it will actually put the account numbers in its own separate column eventually. And so you can see here now we have account number in its own column, whereas all of the other stuff is put into like where it would look like originally just without the account number. So that's just all that's happening there, if that's what you're referring to. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that helps. And the reason that I'm able to share screens and download and all that stuff quickly, it's a two-part thing. One, it's a pretty decent computer that I'm running. And then the second part is the fact that I think that, and this is maybe just a me thing, I pretty much recommend people use something like Brave, which is the browser I'm using at this point in time. I think it's a little bit faster than Chrome, and it seems to have a little bit less issues that people are talking about. I don't want to say that's a silver bullet, to be clear. Um, Cindy asks, is there a way to edit the chart of accounts to add numbers to accounts that don't have numbers instead of one at a time? Yes, but that is actually a QuickBooks default feature. So if you come into here, there is a literal button right here that looks like a pencil. If you click batch edit, you can then come in here and you can type in the numbers, and you can do it that way. Alternatively, you can also like export the CSV from like export data and then re-import it. So that also works as well. So something to be aware of. Stacy asks, does RightTool work on Brave? I thought it was only a Chrome extension. So here's a little dirty secret of the world is that most browsers actually run on the same kind of back end as Chrome does. Uh, and so basically every browser that's out there, with the exception of Firefox and Safari, can run RightTool. Hector has his own favorite browser, and it is really cool, called Arc. That also is something that you could look into if you really want to. It is very cool. So yes, you can download it on more than just Chrome, to be clear. What actual thing that I wanted to put out to the world as well is that we did make an update that I kind of forgot about mentioning, because of the fact that it was a very minor thing. Um, Inside of the settings for RightTool in the Pro version, we have batch, delete, and register, and we have a save deleted transaction list to CSV. We have recently updated this so that the way that it will work it will have a format that is more similar to when you want to bulk enter inside of the register. So just to show you really quick what I'm talking about here, I'm going to click batch, and I'm going to click on these 3 expenses, let's say, and click delete. And once I'm done, it will save a CSV file of like the transactions I deleted. And it used to have a completely different formatting, but now it will actually come up in the format that you will need to have it in order to bulk enter it into QuickBooks Online. So now I can just copy that and press bulk enter, drop and paste the CSV, and then we have hashtag expense. Okay, that's funny. That's funny to me, and just on a conceptual level. And I clearly need to work on something that I did wrong there, but that's okay. And yes, this is a pro feature. Both the delete and the entering of stuff is a pro feature. Yes, this makes it easier to move things to a new register, or if you have, for whatever reason, like multiple companies, but somebody connected the wrong one or something, just makes it a little bit easier to move them between. And then I can press bulk enter. Let me actually remove this append to memo part. And it just brings them back in. So it's a little bit easier to move everything. I will have to look into some stuff there because I think I wish that we could edit payroll transactions. Uh, that's actually an interesting question, Logbear. Do you have to delete it to have the export to re-enter? I wish we could change payroll stuff, by the way. We literally can't. QuickBooks has payroll locked down. So just to be aware. And also, if you delete something inside the batch delete, if it came from the bank feed, it will delete and it will go back into the bank feed. If you created it inside of QuickBooks Online directly, it will be deleted permanently. So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, hoping you'll be able to add a feature to jump to a customer on the customer list. Yes, we will need to work on that. That's something somebody asked for. So I do want to be able to. And yes, we should take note of that. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to open up my notepad right now because I like to have the notes for these kind of things when I get them, or else I will forget about them. Let's see here. Export transactions from the register without deleting them. Yeah, no, we could definitely do that. I think that wouldn't be too hard to do. Yeah. let's see here. And then there's another thing. Oh yeah, jump to customer. Yeah, let's see here. Jump to customer in customer list. And again, I appreciate everything, all the ideas that you guys have, and I again appreciate just everybody in general. And yeah, so let me see. Is there anything else that we need other than let's see here, pay details in the free version? Yeah, we'll definitely look at that, Erica, for sure. Let's see here. But yes, I do appreciate again everybody talking. I think that we are probably good to go for now. Can I cover troubleshooting? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good point, Hector. This is just a more of a general statement. I wanted to give everybody just a little bit of just a reminder. If you ever have issues with RightTool or with like QuickBooks doing a thing where it loads forever and ever, but it never actually loads, there's two things to do. One, if it's a problem with RightTool itself, clicking reload the extension, and by the way, you can do this by going up here to the right side of your screen, top right side of your screen to a puzzle icon. There'll be a button to pin your extensions. If you just pin RightTool and then you click on it, and no, we are not doing away with the free version, to be clear. So inside of here, you can click reload extension. This will usually fix issues if like RightTool is acting in weird, unexpected ways, but it's still technically running. Sometimes it just requires a reload for whatever reason. We hope that one day Google will fix that, but for now, it's just the way the world goes. And then another thing is if you ever have the loading dots of death where it just keeps on loading and it never stops, we have a feature up here called clear called clear cache. And what this will do is if you've ever been like told, hey, can you like, or you know how whenever you have an issue, people will tell you, oh, clear your cache and cookies. This basically makes it so instead of doing that for your entire browser or PC, it'll do it just for the QuickBooks related stuff. And it usually fixes a lot of issues kind of like that, where like the loading screen goes on forever and ever. So you can click on this clear cache thing and it should make things run a little bit faster as well. So just something as well, if you're looking to make things run faster, clear cache every once in a while. Yeah. And then yeah, again, you don't have to right click on anything. You can literally just go to this little puzzle icon again at the top, pin RightTool for QuickBooks Online. Yes, I get it. And then inside of here, you can click clear cache and it will help you out. Yeah. So again, yeah, thank you, Hector, for bringing that up. That was a good point. It's a good way to it's good to make people aware of the fact that you can do that to help in situations where things aren't working correctly. And that clear cache thing also works for more than just RightTool related issues. So just to be aware. But yeah, I think with that said, we might actually end like a couple of minutes early. So thank you again, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. And I hope to see many of you at Scaling New Heights and BKX.
All
Bye
right.
bye.